So today we're joined by UFC light heavyweight champion Jon Jones. And he's fighting Alexander Gustafsson at UFC 165 on the 21st of September. Hey Jon.
How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, thanks for having me.
So what kind of challenges does Gustafsson present that your previous opponents haven't?
I would say, his height and his reach, and his arms and legs, it's going to be different, a little bit different distancing, and it would require me to have a little different timing. I have to beat him to the punch a little faster because his arms are a little longer. So yeah, just a little range differences.
Have you been watching much tape on him then?
I watch his fights all the time.
Do you?
Oh yes.
Does that mean literally sitting down with 2 or 3 of the coaches and actually looking at individual things for each fight, stopping, pausing it and going, see what he's doing here, Jon, this is what you've got to be prepared for?
Absolutely, the way he holds his hands, the way he steps, what his opponents are doing, his vulnerabilities, his go-to offense moves. Yeah, we pay attention to every little detail.
Yeah. I mean, which of the fights of his that you've watched do you think you've learned the most from about him? Would it be his loss or would it be his wins?
Some of his striking battles is where I really learned the most, against Shogun Rua and Thiago Silva. I mean, those fights were a little bit of a war for him, and I believe when fighters are in wars, that's when they throw out their best material. You really see who they are. When you're in a war, you're not holding back anything. So getting to see him in wars really gives you a true sense of his full capabilities.
If you beat Gustafsson, how much longer will you stick around at light heavyweight for?
I'm getting more mature. I have good people in my career and in my life that's gonna help me cut the weight and stay in better shape in my off season and things like that. So I see myself being able to be a light heavyweight for many more years.
You said before that Anderson Silva was kind of one of your fighting idols. Has anything changed on that front since his loss to Weidman?
No, I think losses are gonna happen. It's a crazy sport. There's so many different stylistic matchups and things. Everyone's susceptible to lose. But Anderson's a great fighter. He's a great fighter still, and you can't disregard everything that he's done, all the magnificent moments that he's given us. So yeah, he's still that same guy for me, someone that should be greatly respected as a martial artist. I thought that he got way too comfortable, which there's nothing wrong with being comfortable, but he got way too comfortable to the point where he may have let his killer instinct drop a little bit, and he paid the price for that.
And what does that kind of teach you when you look at something like that?
Always respect the game. Always respect who's in front of you. We all have our gifts, every one of us. We all have things that we're capable of, and you need to respect every man because you never know which one's can do you in.
If Weidman came up to light heavyweight, would that be a fight that you'd be interested in?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think Weidman's a great fighter. I think I'm a little better.
And of all your fights, which one do you feel that you've performed best in so far? Which of your fights are you most proud of?
I think beating Rampage Jackson I'm really proud about that fight because he's just so famous. Everyone knows Rampage. He's in the 18 movie and all, he fought in Japan and he's just such a character. So being able to say I beat Rampage Jackson is always cool. Performance-wise, I think winning my first world title was a big one. Having a guy like Shogun Rua tap out to strikes, that's a great feat. My last fight against Chael Sonnen, it was close to a flawless performance, and I'm really proud about that one as well.
Looking at the kind of workouts that you do when you're in a camp, is there kind of a standard that you normally follow, or do you change everything up every time?
Oh, there's definitely a standard I follow. I work with the same swim coach, the same strength and conditioning coach. These guys have numbers. They have my numbers, how many laps I can do in a certain amount of time. They know when I start to get tired normally. They know how many reps I can do in the weight room, bench, deadlifts, and all these things. So every time I get back to camp, I make it my personal goal to be better than the guy they've seen in the past, which is a little hard to do after training with the same people for almost 4 years now. But every time, I always break my own records.
Every time?
Every time. And I think it has something to do with me getting older, more mature, more mentally strong. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
If you could fight one fighter from history in his prime, who would it be?
I would love to fight Muhammad Ali in his prime, just because he didn't know takedown defense or any jiu-jitsu moves, and to dominate one of the greatest of all time would be sweet.
Yeah. What would happen if you started to box with him?
He'd knock me out, for sure.
And now you've been in the UFC and have been champion for a while, has it changed the way you've learned to deal with the celebrity and media side of things?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I'm just more comfortable in my own skin, and you know, I've learned to be careful what you say in media and things like that. And you know, it's a learning process. Just every day, you know, being recognized by people and things like that. You just learn how to work with people and deal with people and be gracious. And I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for this experience.
And in training, are there, like, you know, we've seen you do some pretty kind of outlandish moves in the cage. Are there some kind of crazy Matrix style things that you do regularly in training that you've not yet incorporated into a fight that you'd like to? You say like the Pettis kick and that kind of stuff.
That's funny. There's definitely a lot of techniques out there there's a lot of techniques that I've trained and I'm training that I haven't been able to pull off. You know, fighting, it's a lot about like circumstances and things like that, and situations you're able to be put in. And as of now, there's a lot of situations I haven't been put in the octagon that I would like to be put in, so I can use some of these techniques that I have.
Yeah.
So, in time, they'll be shown.
If a kid wanted to get started in MMA, what would you suggest him he should do first?
I would suggest the kid wrestling first. It's very, it's like low impact. It's not too hard on your body.
Yeah.
And as you get older, it can be hard on your body. So it's like, get it in now when you're young and you're fresh.
Yeah.
And like I said, you know, if you want to do kickboxing or boxing, you know, taking blows to the head at a young age is not going to help you. Learn how to wrestle, learn how to grapple, do jiu-jitsu, and you know, then work on your strikes as you mature.
Because one of the problems that we have here in the UK is it's hard to find good wrestling coaches. So we have quite a high standard of striking, quite a high standard of BJJ, but wrestling coaches are sort of few and far between. So would you say, in that instance, the best thing to do is go down a BJJ route first?
Yeah, definitely. You know, in a situation like that, being in the UK, I would definitely just work on grappling and save your mind. You know, there's a little saying, don't like leave your career in the gym. That means don't go taking blows. You know what I mean? So save your mind and just learn the body, and then, you know, focus on strikes as you mature.
And final question, what would you like your legacy to be?
I want to be known as one of the best fighters that ever lived, to ever do it. And I want to make a positive impact. I want to motivate people and inspire people to be the best they can be. Because I tell you what, man, it wasn't easy for me to do. But I did it, which means anyone can do it. So that's my legacy.